Welcome to the beginning, which is the end for me, because I wanted to show you just some of the things we're going to make today um, and how you can get them without having to watch the rest of the tutorial, because you don't need to. The tutorial has a lot of us building the scripts, which is very cool, but not necessarily needed. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek. All right, so today we built 6 new scripts, including this font selector, which allows you to select the font from the properties panel, which is super duper cool. That's different. That didn't happen last time. Do I hit a fly around? What the heck? Turn that off. I think the text gizmo glitched out. That's just a text gizmo glitch. I thought that was fixed. I guess it's not. Anyway, interesting. Um, yeah, that's totally glitched text gizmo. But you can also see that we've got a image displaying script, which is this one. Let's click F to focus on that. There it is. And so what you'll see is if we turn the world off, it displays no image, this image question mark. And when you turn it on, it displays an image, which can be found on the properties panel of here. There you go. And so you can swap that out. Now, I did want to note, and we note this later in the video, that you can select a texture. Now, this is a new feature as of the last month or two. So that's totally sweet. So you can just swap things out that way. You also have a reset to default. And I know that just messed me up. So let's see, Control Z, Control Z. There we go. That's pretty cool. The next one is a looping image script that can do more than once per second. That's this one here. So we turn that on, you'll see the cycles. I think it's at once per second, isn't it? But you can go faster than once per second. So if we go in and select that item, we can change it from 1000 milliseconds to 500 milliseconds. So twice per second. Noting that the custom UI, which is the next one we have on here, actually, we have custom UI looping images right here. Press F to focus. There it is. This one is maximum of once per second, recommending really honestly like once every 2 seconds or more. So in one of our worlds, we do it every 30 minutes. Anyway, there's that one as well. It's just a little easier to use. You also get a background image with this, which is pretty neat. So if you wanted to swap out with a different background image, you can do that. I think we can actually select. Yeah, we're not going to go through that since it's not pictures. I like the pictures. Anyway, the next one we have is an instruction board with buttons. So that's this one here. Let's have to focus. Here you go. And this is straight out of a lot of our other tutorials, but just nicer. You can just pull it right out of the asset library now. And then finally, we have displaying image with custom UI. And this one is actually pretty cool because you can display it on a custom UI gizmo, which is mobile compatible. And it also supports a background image. So you can put a background image in this slot and your foreground image in this slot, allowing you to display 2 images at the same time. I guess I will quickly demonstrate what that looks like. So if we go to Colorado Lava instructions, there's a background image. And if I select that background image and put it right there, you can see if I hit reset, it displays both at the same time. And so the foreground image can be swapped out as well. So we can swap that with like the logo, hit reset, boom, there it is. Nice. Okay, I think that is everything you need to know about the new assets we're going to make in this tutorial. If you are interested in continuing to watch them, I hope you'll do that. If you're not, no big deal. Thanks so much for checking out these new tools we just added to the asset library, and I hope you'll enjoy those in Horizon. All right, I'll catch you later. Bye. Apologies for the mediocre lighting, but welcome back. Today we're going to take an old tutorial and make it an asset in the asset library that we learned about in our last video. This request actually comes from our YouTube channel. Jessica Husky says, can you do images for me? I'm not that much of a computer person, and Horizon Worlds doesn't run on my laptop. It's not powerful enough. More or less, a little paraphrasing there. And we have the script here. All we need to do is add it to the asset library, and theoretically, Jessica, you're going to be able to pull this right out. So right here in the Vidyuu Assets, this is linked in the description of all of our latest videos, you're going to find quick images. And if we go into quick images, here is the script. And we've got some files in here for FBX uploading of images. But really, we want to do, I think we're going to make even a secondary script. And so let's start by downloading this. I believe that is a TS file. I hope it is. It says it's a Google Doc. Oh, that's a doc. Oh, wow. This tutorial is a little outdated. This was before I was uploading TS files. Let's just open it up then. And we're going to close out of the Google Drive. You know what? We should update this. We should really update this, but I don't think we're going to, because from now going forward, you're just gonna be able to pull the asset out of the asset library. So here's the script, very, very simple script. And I'm just gonna hit Control A, Control C to copy it. We're gonna open up the Horizon desktop editor. And so I wanna make a note somewhere, because I have two goals for today. And goal 1 is to get this working, and goal 2 is to use the other way. Actually, I have the third goal too. We're going to make 3 different scripts here. Let me create a new Google document so I can make my notes of what we want to do. So thing 1 is CUI image, because that's super easy. Then we want to do a 3D model image, because that's also super easy. And the reason this is important is because custom UIs are way more intense than 3D models. So if you're not swapping the image, which then brings up the point, if you're going to use a custom UI image cycler, which I believe I've already got the script out there. So like that should be easy. Ta-da! So cool. Let's get these scripts put together and get this onto the asset library ASAP so you guys can start using them. We had this rainbow glass world. I think we might use this world for building assets in. It just makes sense. Things that just make sense. Again, sorry for the crunchy audio. I listened back to both tutorials and I felt like they both sounded good, and it was mostly the speakers on this computer are more crunchy. So like the audio isn't perfect, I know, but it's not actually as bad as I thought. We'll see if this is gonna load. Da 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 da. I don't know what to tell you. Oh man! So if you've been following, I love doing these in live real time. Oh no, Horizon crashed. Oh, it says, do you want to allow network access? Fire perfected. Huh? What is it trying to do? Can I just I kind of want to hit cancel. I got a pop up that says, do you want to allow public and private networks to access this app? I think the answer is no. We're just going to hit cancel. Sketchy pop up. I wasn't really sure how to respond. It has loaded, so we can go back to that. But I thought, just finishing my last thought as I started speaking it, if you've been following my travels, I'm now in Dublin. I love working everywhere I go. It's pretty awesome. So my wife's out having breakfast with her family, and I wasn't hungry. What can I tell you? And I really wanted to work. I really, really wanted to work. I love my job, guys. Being able to make assets for you is the best thing in the world. So here we are. And let's check out that public asset library. How's it coming? I bet there's a lot of stuff. So here we can see a lot more assets getting uploaded by Blackstar today. There's Matt still uploading. See anybody else? There's HoloLens. Nice. Lots of people uploading. Very cool. Starting to get worried about some of these Disney characters, guys. But all right. For what it's worth, to anybody wondering, I would not upload anything that has IP. Like that just seems like a very, very quick and risky thing to do. Okay, let's get this script made. And so if you haven't seen that tutorial before, basically you've got the script. We're going to create it. It's called, it's a custom UI. So I like to do CUI and then underscore, and it displays an image. So display image, and it goes on an entity. So I do shift underscore entity. I also got the keyboard for this computer setup because the laptop came with a keyboard. It still has a tiny shift key, but I'm doing better with this one. Let's see. CUI display image underscore entity. Perfect. 3 dots, open external editor. And then we can paste the script that we had copied, assuming it's still in my copy. Control A, Control V. Very nice. Looks good. I'm going to trim this down a little bit. This was a problem with the Google Drive. No, what is going on here? Oh, the user UI has to be added. Okay, so anyone who goes to use this, Jessica included, you're going to need to make sure to turn on the API. And on the desktop editor, this is really easy. You just go to Settings, go to API, turn on Horizon UI. Simple as that. Apply. Ta-da! We are going to make a secondary script, Jessica, that will not require this step. From the website, you can go to Horizon. Let's see. No, that's not it. I'm going to have to type this all out because I don't have it saved. This new computer, horizon.meta.com. And then theoretically, I'm logged in. I do not like cookies. Just essential. Log in. Hopefully, this will be easy. Because they've got a creator portal online that you can use, which you can also create scripts from. And we'll go to Creator Tools. We'll go to Worlds, right? Here's the Rainbow Glass world we're in. Click on Scripts. And then from Scripts, you're going to be able to click the Settings gear icon and turn on the UI API and any other APIs that you want. You can also copy and paste that code up here when you click Create New Script. So you could have done that too, Jessica, rather than use the desktop editor. That might actually come in useful for some of the other tutorials you might be looking at, so definitely keep that in mind. If you don't have access to the desktop editor, there are some hacky ways to work around it. But yeah, so there we go. Let's go back into Horizon. I want to double check that OBS is, yes, good. I'm like, make sure we're on screen capture. CUI display image entity. We've got our code here. It is now working because we have that UI. I like to do single spaces here. This is from using Google Docs. It doubled the spacing. Now let's read through this and make sure it's as clean as I would like it to be before we share it. So we have the image here, and this is a texture asset. So image, which is a texture asset. And then we're going to need to copy this, Control C, Control V. There we go. And now that we've done that, we then said on start image source from texture asset. And this will not work unless you actually have a texture asset reference, because we're using an exclamation point here, so it'll just break the code if it's not actually a texture asset. And then style, resize mode, contain with width 100%, height 100%. I think that's set up right. I assume I did it right the first time. So go ahead and hit Control Save. Script looks good. Let's go ahead and give it a test. So what we're going to do is pull out a script, or excuse me, a gizmo. We need that custom UI gizmo. And there it is. And now we need to attach the script. Attach script. And this is the custom UI display image entity script. We need to reference a texture asset. So we'll go into our asset library. And I've got something that we can use. I'm sure I've got plenty of things we can use. So I've got some Outbreak stuff. Let's see, we got some boards from Outbreak. The background board, the Outbreak logo. None of these fill the whole thing though, which could be confusing. So like for reference, if we take this one, it's a circle. And if we hit World Simulation on, press F to focus, hold down, what is it, Alt? No, that wasn't it. Alt is zoom. Okay, is it Shift? No. Let's hit F to focus again. Control. No. F to focus again. Why can't I remember? Oh, is it middle? No. Focus. No. I can't remember. What is the key binding? There it is. We're on the other side now. It wasn't Shift. It wasn't Alt. I can't remember. But anyway, there's a way to circle around it. Somebody put it in the comments and I'll pin it. There it is. So you can see it's a circle, which is nice. Like, this is really cool. And like, if that's what you're going for, fantastic. In fact, we might actually leave that as the default. I mean, it's kind of beautiful. Oh, but I don't want to give this away because this is a themed element from Outbreak, so I'd kind of get in trouble for doing that. This is made custom by Rexrod, so I can't actually use that. But as you can see, pretty easy to use. And so if we wanted to swap this out with a different image, all we do is like grab how to play, boom, hit reset. Ta-da! Now you'll note that this only displays one image, so I think it would actually be really cool if we supported what you're seeing in here with one extra line of code. We hit, it's a couple extra lines of code, Control C, Control V, and this will be called, the first one, the background image, and I want to spell this out for anybody who doesn't understand that. Background. Make sure everything is readable is kind of the goal. Background image texture asset. And then what we do is we have two things here. So we're going to actually have to create two views. And to do that, we just write view. So we're creating a view, click enter to import it, parentheses. And then inside of the view, we need curly braces. We'll need a semicolon here at the end because I like semicolons. And then we go down here, click enter. We then need to know the children. And then children is an array of items. There's a comma that goes here. We do need a style, which is, man, I haven't written this stuff in forever, but it's like riding a bike. It's just coming right back to me. And then so inside of children is where we're going to put this. And I'm going to just cut this right here. Control X. I then need to delete this extra bit there. And tab, Control V, Shift Alt F to reformat. And then I need a comma right there. Okay, so this is image 1, Control C, and then this is image 2. And this second one is the foreground, if I'm not mistaken, and this is the background. So we're going to type background image here. And then I think we want to use the exact same style for this. I could be very wrong about that. Shift Alt F, let's see, style, resize mode, contain. That must be only for images. So we'll just keep width and height, Control Save. And now we're going to head back into Horizon where we're now going to see this compile. It takes a second. You see the blue dot turn to orange, turn to green. No green. Anyway, we've got our how to play on the foreground. We'll grab our background. And now when we hit world simulation on, I must have reversed them. Let's try that one more time. So we're going to take this here. And the easiest way to fix this is just to select it all and then Alt arrow up until it's above the previous image. There we go. Control Save. Give that another second to compile. Strike that, reverse it. One of my favorite lines from Wonka. World simulation on. Ooh, something's wrong here. What is wrong? Why aren't we seeing both images? Is it because I don't normally display two images, or did I mess something up? Background image, image source, from texture asset. We've got two images. I wonder if it's because it's, yeah, it might be this, it's not resize mode, it's the positioning, I'm thinking. Position, let's see, absolute. There we go. Control C, Control V. And then I do believe I had it right the first go around. So we're going to Alt arrow that back up. Unfortunately, that means we're going to have to try that both ways if it doesn't work the first time. Okay, wait for that to compile. 3, 2, and 1. World simulation on. Hey, yo, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. So now you can have a background image and a foreground image. So this script has become even more useful by having these two images where you can have now a background and a foreground. We should actually name that foreground rather than just image. So we'll go ahead and type that here. Foreground image. Foreground, background image texture asset, foreground image texture asset, and we just need to copy paste that. And so note here that if you just want a singular image, you just ignore the other one, which does mean we should somehow take that into account, right? So if I wait for that to compile and then we don't have this, we just have the background, I think this is still going to fail because we're using exclamation points. Let's turn it on. Yeah, that's oops. Okay, so I made a minor oopsie in the script by not handling that. So pretty cool if you're using both, but not so cool if you don't need both. So to handle that, we have to, instead of using an exclamation point, recognize that this might be undefined. And I think what that means is we need to create some sort of like function. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a function. This is going to be called getImage. Oopsie. Oh no, what am I doing? Caps lock. Okay. Get image, which is going to take, I'm not sure what I've been clicking, but okay. So then curly braces. All right, so get image needs to take a texture asset. So we'll say texture asset, or I need to fix a lot of stuff here. So or undefined. Where's the or symbol? Oh, right, I'm on a different computer. There's the or symbol. Undefined. I'm using a European keyboard, and for those who are not in the know, the location of certain elements like that slash are in different spots. So now we've got this texture asset, and what we want to do is say if parentheses texture asset is defined, then we're going to do this, else we're going to do this. And what we need to do with this is return a view, right? A view creates a UI node. So we need to return a UI node. That's what it is. UI node. There we go. And so in else, we're just going to return, oopsie, control C. We're just going to return an empty view. So we'll just return view, no big deal, parentheses, and curly braces go inside the parentheses. And then else, we need to do what's inside these images. So control C, and we just type return and control V. All right, return image, and then image source is no longer from this. We just backspace this, and then we type in texture asset. There we go. All right, so we got the image source from texture asset, and then this one, why is it red? We have an extra curly brace in here. And because this is a comma and not a, yeah, it's because that was a comma and not a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Taken care of. So now we can replace each of these images with that code. And so what we need to do is take this line of code here, Control X, and then take this whole section of code right here and backspace it and replace it with get image, and then parentheses, paste this in here, add a comma at the very end, and then remove the exclamation point and change it to a question mark. And now this is saying you're going to get the background image as a texture asset, or if it's not available, we're just going to return a undefined. Now this will still break. This will still break if you don't like reference the right type of asset. Now we're going to delete this next line of code here, backspace, and then Control C, Control V to duplicate this. And this actually looks a lot cleaner in terms of code because we've got this reusable like line of code here rather than having it pasted twice. There we go, foreground image, Control Save. All right, so definitely a lot more complex script, but it gives you some extra features, which I love. So we've really expanded upon the original. And cool, let's give that a go. When we hit wait for the compilation to finish, looks like it's done. World simulation on, there we go. So now we can see it. We select this, scroll down, reference a different image. You can see that displays. If we clear out the background image, which I should be able to do by just selecting none, then refresh, you can see that's just displaying the foreground. So fantastic, this will work no matter what your needs are. Now I can't give away these, but got a lot of lava might have something in it that I can use. Instruction board, and got a lot of lava logo goes on the foreground, fantastic. And the empty background goes on the back, nice. So not the prettiest work. Cool logo. Kind of debating putting that in there. Well, you know, it's not a popular world. Maybe we'll use pro tips. What does that say? It says snowballs freeze players in stone. Trimmers every 15 seconds. More players. Oh, you know what? I want to give away this one right here. This is one that I genuinely love, and I hope more people put it in their worlds. It says keep it kind. Read the room, be kind, and have fun. Closed instances are great for solo play or just for friends. Reporting tools. Use reporting tools when necessary. And I think I've actually got a better background inside of the Power Wash one. Power Wash. And I think Ash will be totally fine with me using it. So power wash instructions without background means that there's an empty background. There it is. Nice. That looks good. Cool. So there you go. That'll be the default. So now what we need to do is take this custom UI, give it a good name, which we're going to call the display image. Although I am realizing that some people might not know how to clear out the properties of this. Darn it. Display image. That is a problem, isn't it? Okay, let's clear out the background and just keep the text for the foreground. And hit refresh. So it's just going to be this text. Because if somebody gets this and they don't know how to hit the none option, remove the pill, then they might be stuck with one or the other, and that could be problematic. So in this case, you can just replace the keep it kind. Totally good, totally good. All right, so now that that's just done, we got display image, we've got this set up. We can now create an asset out of this. Right click, create asset, which we're going to call display image. Display image. And then we'll call this custom UI. Display image custom UI. Display image with custom UI. There we go. And we'll click create. Fantastic. Now we're going to go to that in our assets section up here, my assets. There it is. We do need an image for this, like a screenshot. So let's scale that up. Grab my snipping tool. And yeah, just grab that. That looks like a square to me. Okie doke. And I think I'm okay with that. Oh, I forgot we got to save that as a JPEG. So let's do that real quick. Go down to screenshots, open it up, and 3 dots, save as, change it to a JPEG, and save. Fantastic. Okay, done. Now we can go ahead and hit make asset public, display image with custom UI, selecting category interactive, selecting category world script interfaces, maybe interfaces. We'll just call it interfaces, and then describe this. Display texture assets as images on a custom UI, the capital C, it's a gizmo name. And then period supports foreground, supports transparent foreground and background, and i.e. to display texture assets as images on custom UI, supports transparent foreground and background, i.e. 2 images can be displayed at the same time. Exclamation point. All right. Add tags. I wanted to add the tag Vidyuu. Not sure why. We're also going to do image, display, foreground, background, custom UI, CUI, UI, images. I'm not sure how insane these tags need to be, but we'll go with that. All right, add thumbnail, choose file, choose the latest one, import. There we go. And make public. Fantastic. All right, there we go. Now, I did remember as we were working on this that the website that I had shown you And this one, again, specific for Jessica and people who are in the same situation as Jessica without the desktop editor, that there is a feature on here they just recently added. Creator Tools. If you go to My Assets, you can now upload texture assets here. So upload texture, and then you can upload textures. So that's one way to get your textures in since you don't have the desktop editor. Okay, so that one is done. Now, before we move on from the custom UI, I think we should make this cycle through images. And I want to make it start with a default of 10 images. We're going to duplicate the script. So we'll go to scripts, and then we'll duplicate this. There we go. And then let's rename it. And this will be display images and backspace. Display images. We'll call it looping. Looping. There we go. Wait for that to change. 3 dots, open an external editor. Okay, so this shouldn't be too hard. Now, the goal is to create a array. Now, if you haven't seen my tutorial on this, you can find it online. It's not too hard to find. If we go to the, not forums, into the Learn website, there's a section under, not here, go to, where did they store that? MHCP program, community guides, and is it this one? It's one of these. Import images and add texture animation. This is one that's very similar. And then I did another one on custom UI, didn't I? So yeah, this one's really good. And then let's see. It's kind of getting to be a lot, and it's not very well organized, and you can't really read the whole name, which, like I said, there's a lot of custom UI API introduction. Here it is. This is, and you can actually just download these scripts if I'm not mistaken. So if you scroll down here, you're going to find the image cycler. So somewhere down here. So, but this is a really great introduction to custom UI if that's something you want to check out. Text instruction boards example. Yeah, here it is. And so you've got this. This has actually got buttons on it that you can press. Should actually do that. Let's add that to our list. Go create a instruction board. We're going to give away a lot of assets today. Capsule of board. All right, I just need to stretch my arms just for a second. Oh, I'm gonna actually take my watch off because it's feeling like a little constraining. There we go. Okay, good stretch. Awesome. There's somebody asked for a font text gizmo. I'm like kind of getting carried away, but it's okay. Yeah, add texture to array. So this one's very similar, but it's with buttons. Scroll view, we're not worried about scroll view. Maybe it's not in here. Maybe it isn't in here. Probably for good reason though, which we're gonna see very quickly. Okay, let's build it in our own code, the thing that I'm thinking of, and then I guess we really should do the first, so that first tutorial shows, let's go to camera view. Also, hashtag not a sponsor when you see what I'm drinking. I have a headache, and this creates the headache. But anyway. So the first tutorial is a much better image cycler, and I'm genuinely thinking we shouldn't use custom UI. Like the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm like, custom UI is not the right answer, but there is some features that might be useful. Okay, so what's the downside to custom UI? If you don't know this already, custom UI is supposed to be updated no more than once per second. So if you want to build an animated GIF that updates 10 times per second, custom UI is not an option. If you want to build something that updates once every 15 seconds, totally fine. That's what we're going to do first. So heading back to screen capture and to the internet, we're going to have to build two versions of this. So we're going to have the custom UI image cycler, 1 plus seconds, and then we're going to have the 3D model image cycler, Control C, which supports 10x per second. So that one's like more like a GIF. So now this one, I do have in a world. I do have it in a world already, but I wanted to use this version because it supported a background. And so what I wanted to do was change this to be called foreground image 1 or 0, because that's where it's going to start. And then Control C, we're going to do 10 of these. So we'll loop that up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Control C, and that's 9. Okay. So 0 through 9 is 10. And now that we've got our 10 images, we need an array to reference these in. And so down here, we need to create an array of texture assets. So we'll call this the textures. Fingers are cramped. Like I'm cramping because this keyboard feels different. Maybe it's just too small. I'm not really sure. Cannot wait to get back to my home computer. I'm so excited to work. If it wasn't clear already, I love making scripts and creating interactive things. It's fun. Textures, which will be an array of texture assets. So we say texture asset array, which equals an empty array. All right. Then we need to know the index, and this is index equals 0. And then we need a binding so that we can update it. So we need to create a texture asset binding. So we'll call this texture binding, which equals new binding of type texture asset. And do we need to do texture asset binding? I think we can. You do have to have a default though, which is where things can start to break apart if you don't have a single image referenced. Whereas we could instead do new binding of number and then say that equals 0 and then use the index to update this binding. And then right here, we'll need to make this a little bit more custom. So we'll copy this code, Control C, pasting it right there, Control V, replace that with a comma. And then instead of using a image source from texture asset, which we will need, I'm going to hit Control X. We're then going to instead do texture binding. In fact, I'm going to rename this to texture index binding and say texture index binding dot derive, and then parentheses, and then we need the arrow function where we take the number, which is the index, and then the arrow function to the right where we need to return a value. And so what we need to do is say, and mind you, this will not work if you don't have at least one of the foreground images. So this will break. But as long as there's at least one foreground image, we know that this will work. And so we can then say, we need to return this. So we say return, come on, keyboard, there we go, Control D, image source from texture asset. Now to get the correct texture asset, we go into the textures, and then we provide index of index, there we go. And that will then create a texture asset, like an image source from texture asset thing. Okay, that'll work. Now that we got the foreground image set up, we've got our background image above this, don't we? Don't we? Yeah, right here. So here's the background image, here's the foreground image, and then we now need to make sure these textures are actually initialized. And I think that is one of the problems here, is that we need to actually initialize inside of the initialized UI, because pre-start happens after initializing the UI, which means there wouldn't be anything in the textures array if we used pre-start. And so what we have to do is initialize all of these foreground images up here. Now to do that, we're going to want to create another helper function. Usually that's going to make our life a lot easier. So we've got the get image down here. To keep things running in the same order that they're appearing in the script, I'm going to put this above get image since this will happen before get image. And this is going to be called add texture to array, or we'll call it just add texture since it's a local method. And then what we want to do is take a texture asset or undefined, just like we did here, Control C, Control V, and then we want to just say same thing, if parentheses texture asset. Now the big difference here is that we don't do anything in the else. So now we can say textures dot push parentheses texture asset. Simple as that. And semicolon here. There we go. And so that's going to add the texture to the array. Now we need the same line of code here, Control C, Control V, backspace, and then Shift Alt F. And then instead of get image, we're going to call add texture. And instead of background image, we're going to call foreground image 0. And then we do that 10 times. Control C, 1, 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, then we change these from 0 through 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. And so if you wanted to add more images, you would simply duplicate this line of code here and this line of code there. Now that these have been added and the index is set to 0 in both places on start, we are then good to keep going. Now this return is giving us an error. Let's see. Oh, because these are commas. These are supposed to be semicolons. My bad. There we go. Control save. Okay. So with all of that set up, we're going to go ahead and backspace Control save. I think that looks nice and clean. It isn't my best work. Might actually be. I don't know, it's pretty decent. Shouldn't complain. I shouldn't. It's not bad. Okay. With that, I am noticing that there is some duplicated code here where we have get image. And I'm thinking if we just add a Boolean right here, so we have texture asset going in there, and if we add comma a Boolean called is binding binding image, and we can set that to a Boolean. We could then write our code slightly different down here. And right here we have our image source. And so what we would do, oopsie, sorry, is say is binding image question mark, and that allows us to write this as if there are two options. And so we return this option if it's unbind or that one. Okay, we need a colon, and we'll copy this right for now. Shift, Control C, Control V. There we go. So we have is binding, we have image source, and then this first one needs to be what we actually put right here, which is the derive. I don't know if you can do that though. Can you? Maybe. We'll give it a shot. Control C. To make this actually readable though, so it's not some craziness, we're just going to break this into multiple lines. We'll break this down, and then we'll break this down. I don't know if this is acceptable coding. Gonna do it anyway. and then paste this right here, Control V, remove the comma, and Shift Alt F. Does that prettify? It does. Okay, so now this is saying is binding image, then we're going to use the binding. Otherwise, we're going to use from texture asset. Now this does mean that the texture asset needs to be defined, which is a little hacky, but if we do this, right here, after this, type in comma false, and then Control C, Control V, and then change this to true, we're doing all right. It does also mean we can, but if you don't have a background, that's when this will fail. If you don't have a background image, this starts to fail. So we do need to somehow count for that, which we can do. So let's actually set this to undefined. Okay, set this to undefined. And what we need to do then is say, um, this says if texture asset, but we can say if texture asset or is binding image. Now, this has the problem where this gets upset. So how do we account for that? This is getting a little messy. I was trying to save some lines of code, but I think I've actually added more now. Let's see. I don't know if I can just do that. Okay, let's see if this is, no, that's not possible. Let's see. Well, you know what? We know for a fact, I would never recommend using an exclamation point, but we know for a fact that this texture asset is only used if is binding is false. So is binding image determines that this will not be used. So the only other way to get here is to have a texture asset that's defined. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It works. I don't love exclamation points, but I think in this one case it's acceptable. Because honestly, I do feel like the TypeScript should have been like, oh yeah, there's no way that this line of code runs without texture asset, but it is kind of a hard to jump there. And I feel like there might be ways to make it anyway, but it doesn't matter. It's for sure good. Okay, so this one's done. Now we need to make it loop. That's going to happen on start, which is down here at the bottom because we haven't even started the world yet. And we need a loop, so we're going to create a loop, create braces, and we need to know the interval. And because this is a custom UI, we're going to do it in seconds. We're going to call this interval seconds, which will be of type prop types dot number, and we'll have a default of 1. We'll do 2. There, comma, control save. All right, so then down here, we can start the loop using async dot set interval parentheses. And what we need to do here is draw another arrow function, curly braces, make sure to put the interval in so I don't forget. So we go to props dot interval multiplied by 1000 and semicolon. All right, and then what we want to do inside the curly braces is call loop. Yep, nice. Shift Alt F, pretty. All right, so now inside of loop, we need to say index equals index, and I learned this from that last tutorial, which I'm so glad I learned this because I think it's very clean. You do index plus 1, and then you put this in parentheses. So thank you to Telus for showing me this. And then modulus the length of textures. So textures dot length. There we go. Very clean. And then we can say index binding dot set to the index. Index. There we go. And control save. Done. That should do the trick. All right, jumping back into Horizon, let's see if that works. And to make sure that this works, we're going to need to create a new one of these. Control D, slide it over, attach the other script, move script, attach script, images looping, there we go. Now the background image, let's go to my assets. We're gonna use, I'm thinking we use Got a Lot of Lava as the example, but I feel like I have some others in one of my old classes that might work. AI textures, skyboxes, cube textures, no, those aren't it. Where is my archive? There it is. Archive, junk. Glass. All right, got a waterfall background image, nice. And a chicken as our foreground image, and hit refresh. There you go. Waterfall in the background with a chicken on top. Is there any other images in here? I've got some boards, but I think those are physical items. Oh, wait, actually these will work great. So I'll just throw that as the background image. And these don't have the foregrounds, do they? Huh. Hit refresh. Should have a chicken on that. Nice. Asset references. Is there anything else in here? Don't think there is. It's boards. Maybe it's inside this one. Hey, those are looking good, but they're not the transparent ones, which is what I was looking for. Okay, but I know I've got transparent ones for Got a Lot of Lava, so head on over to close archive. Got a lot of lava, there it is. All right, go to instruction boards and just add that one there. So now what we should see is every 2 seconds that's changing. Go. And let's use the appropriate background for this. And hit refresh. So we got lava chicken, got a lot of lava. Lava chicken, got a lot of lava. All right, and that just proves that it works. Super sick. And I don't think we need a background image. So if we change this to none, it should still work. So if you don't have a background, totally fine. If you want to have a background, totally good. I am going to leave the background image though, just to kind of like display how that works, even though I know it's a little bit harder to use, but hopefully the people using this. Now, technically, you could change this to 0.1 and get this moving at 10 times per second. Flashing warning, incoming. There it goes. Stop. Don't do that. Your world will break after some amount of time. So just don't do that. You keep it at least 1 second. Even 1 second is kind of dangerous. In one of our worlds we're using this, we have it set to 30 minutes. So it actually changes every 30 minutes, which you have to do the math. It's 30 times 60. But yeah. Okay, there we go. Let's go ahead and create an asset out of that. Make sure this has the appropriate name at the top. Display images. I'm going to actually name this looping image display. Looping images with custom UI. There we go. Oh, I don't know what I did there. There we go. That looks good. Did I? Oh no, I made this from a unlink instance root. There we go. No longer linked to that root. That should be good. So that was a mistake, but anyway, right click, create asset. This is looping images with CUI. Cycle images, recommend at least 1 second between images when using custom UI. supports background image. Background image. All right, there it is. And create. Now we're going to need a photo of this. Select that over. And condition on. So the question is, do we want the lava chicken? Snip. View. There it is, lava chicken. All right, edit in paint. No, I don't want paint, did I? Folders, go to pictures, screenshots, open this up, 3 dots, save as, JPEG, save. All right, there we go. Let's head back in here to Horizon, go to the asset, assets, my assets, looping images, go and make asset public, looping images with custom UI, add a thumbnail, choose file, latest thumbnail, open, import, second user recommended, okay, and select category, interactive, interfaces, tags, Vidyuu, image, cycler, loop images, looping images, image, custom UI, CUI. I really have no idea how important these are. That'll be good enough. Make public. Boom. Another one. Another one. So there we go. There are 2 more there. And I'm going to take a quick break and we'll come back for more. Welcome back for part 2. Okay. Took a quick break, recorded a video, posted the video. I don't know what's wrong with it. It was only 5 minutes. Definitely feeling like this is taking a wee bit longer than I would like. So I'm kind of thinking I'd like to try and use scripts that we've already made to make this a little bit faster so we can wrap this up, because there's a lot. Let's go ahead and take a look at our to-do list. We have a custom UI image. I don't know if strike through works easily. Let's see, formatting. I swear it was like Control X. Let's see, strike through, Alt Shift 5. That's going to be hard to remember. Image cycler with UI, Alt Shift 5. Nice. Okay. So this one's already done. This one is not done. These 2 scripts are very similar. The instruction board is done. It's also custom UI. Let's focus on custom UI for a little bit longer. So let's just go grab that final script. Oh, I just closed the tab that had that on it. Let's go history. That was this one, if I'm not mistaken. All right, and we wanted to jump down to instruction board example. There it is. And there's this link right here. Nope, that's not it. Did they not? Oh boy, am I going to be saddened by this? I gave Meta the scripts to upload with this. It doesn't look like they uploaded the scripts alongside these. They must have forgotten. They just uploaded the images. You're supposed to be able to download the scripts. Okay, I don't think those are embedded here anywhere. Learn about animated bindings of a doc set, increase the animation of image something. Further assistance. Scroll back to the top. Okay, well, I know that I have these somewhere. Right? Like in one of my worlds, I have this. I have this in a lot of worlds. So let's just go grab it from the correct world. So heading back into Horizon. My Horizon kind of crashed. OBS crashed. I had to restart my computer. So just a couple little, it's loading pretty fast this time. Let's go. All right, last thing I want to do here is, come on, scrolling, scrolling. There we go. Can I rename this from here? Oh, I can. That is good to know. So this is rainbow glass and image assets. Fantastic, save. All right, so with that named, we can now pick up from one of our worlds that has the instruction board. And I want to grab one that I feel totally comfortable giving out, which is going to be the one from Got a Lot of Lava. Here it is. Maybe? Oh, this is the part that took forever. I forgot. So this is where I was saying last time that I was thinking maybe it has to do with the fact that I'm overseas. All right, we really just need the scripts from this, but I'm also thinking maybe we can just make an asset out of it. So if we go over to the item instruction board, does it say here? Load simulation on. There it is. All right, here's the instruction board. Now, we'll notice that this asset comes with a sound effect. In here, it just needs the sound effect. Everything else is an extra asset. So shift, click, and then right click, and then create asset, which we're going to call instruction board, and then ideally, if this works correctly, we'll be able to just pull it out of our other world, and then we're done. It literally could be that simple, and then you can just go start using it in your world. Let's go back into here. And that's what I mean. I want to make this a little bit easier than last time, a little bit faster. I did enjoy writing some new scripts, and I hope they were educational and helpful for those of you who endured. Let's go ahead and pull out my assets. Instruction board. Come on. There it is. Nicely done. All right. Go ahead and hit world simulation on. Huh. That's interesting, isn't it? It didn't come with the script. How interesting. Attach a script. We don't have the script. That is so interesting. We know that last time the scripts came with the thing. What if they don't? Oh my gosh, what if they don't? Like I said, I'm new to this whole thing. Maybe I do need to group it into the group. Oh boy, am I nervous. Okay, scripts. Because I'm like, but it's only been a couple days. Okay, I can fix this. I can fix this. Dang, it seemed like it was working. Okay, what I need to do is hit 3 dots. Ah! My brain is freaking out because if this doesn't work, then I released a whole tutorial with some inaccuracies that I didn't know, and I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay, so if we go in here, we can go up a folder, and then we'll be able to find Got a Lot of Lava in this drop down. Oh, that's right, they changed from using the name of the world to numbered names, which is not helpful. This is definitely not Got a Lot of Lava. Okay, guys, Meta, this was a bad decision. Being able to go and find our scripts and use them as reference was very nice. This is not very nice. Is this custom? Got a lot of lava. I did a snowball. I think I just saw snowball, which would mean we're in got a lot of lava. NPCs. Ooh, this got NPCs in it. Player stats, pop-up function. What is the snowball? Yeah, this has got to be got a lot of lava. Okay, so we had the custom UI instruction styles, instructions entity. Custom UI bindings. This is it right here. Okay, just took me a second to realize that. Control C, back up, head back into this world. There we are, Control V. Okay. That should come in momentarily. There it goes. Compiling. And come on. There's an error. Something's missing. It's missing the array utils file, isn't it? Open an external editor. Missing array utils. Oh, action utils. That's different. Okay. Go ahead and get that. See if the folder's still open. Back, top one, go to the bottom. Action util, or is that the top? It should be utils underscore action, or util action, something like that. Nope, that's not it. This is some old stuff here, isn't it? Hi. I wanted this to be easy. I definitely went to the wrong world. This has got a more complicated one. I'm in the wrong folder, aren't I? I went to the wrong one. It was this one. Need those names back there, Meta. Bad decision. They're not going to change their decision. They just made an announcement about this a couple weeks ago. But still, I don't like it. Okay, util action. There it is. Control C. Back up. Like, am I gonna have to start memorizing these numbers to remember which world it came from? All right, so then when that compiles, that should compile this one as well. A second to come in. There it goes. Blue dots and no red dots, please. Ooh, there's still a red dot. The actions is got a dependency. Who would have known? Oh boy. It needs component utility data because there is play with delay. Because there's a delay one in here. Oh my goodness gracious. I've got to have a much simpler instruction board out there, right? Let's go back to the internet. Go back to history. If only they'd uploaded the files I gave them to upload with this, which I guess I do have in Google Drive somewhere, so I should go find it. Switch back down to, is this the wrong one? Custom UI, instruction board example, here it is. So what did we do here? We had CUI styles as a dependency, color data as a dependency, action utils. There were a lot of utilities here. Okay, so this is the same, isn't it? Damn it. Dang it. Sorry. Dang it. Yeah, because I just didn't have a lot of time, but I wanted to provide a bunch of examples in this, so I just copied and pasted a bunch of code. That's what I did. Maybe these weren't supposed to be usable code. I don't really know. Okay, so in that case, we're going to have to do it. Just one more dependency. Oh, but that dependency is hard to use. Okay, we're going to just remove the dependency by hand. Okay, so a little bit of coding, no big deal. No big deal. Finally figured out why my hand's starting to cramp up. My mouse is sinking into this bed that I'm sitting on. There's no desk in this room. All right, so let's go open an external editor. What we're actually using from the action utilities, I guarantee is just like one line of code, probably something super simple. So we're just gonna remove the need for action utilities. So we go to instruction functions, display, instructions, entity. We're going to delete this, and then I do like double spacing there, control save. Zoom down to where the red arrow is, there it is. Play sound effect, and it plays it out of position. So we just need to find the play sound effect, play VFX, play sound effects, here it is. And we just do these things. It's really just these two lines here. Control C, right click, move to trash, delete, move to recycle bin. Nice. All right, and then we can replace this with that, swapping in the origin position. Okay. Swapping in the, oh, we need to import audio gizmo. There we go. We need to figure out what FX is. This is FX. Control X. We also defined FX. Oh no, I guess we didn't. There we go. Needs a question mark there. Okay. And done. Control save. Okay, that fixes it. So now we just have the instructions and their styles. So there's the style sheet. And we're going to leave it like that. That's pretty good. Okay. So now that that is set up, we're probably going to have to group those in, which I'm not entirely sure how to do because they're moved to 0, 0, 0. But I guess we need to attach the script first. So attach script, custom UI instructions. And then we need to grab our click sound effect just inside this group. And there's click. We need to go to the Got a Lot of Lava page. Go to our instruction boards. See, wrong button. There we go. Instructions. And let's start with the background. That's easiest. There's our empty background. And we need the logo page. We need the, let's build these in as we can. Pro tips, community, keep it kind, team, logo page is already in there. There are 2 logos. Oh, that's the high resolution one. Got it. Team stages. Yeah. And how to play. Cool. Now let's turn world simulation on. Wonder why it's not functioning. This instance has 3 overrides that haven't been applied to the definition. Script. Don't know what these mean, to be honest. I haven't done any of whatever the heck this is. We could unlink. I think we're going to unlink this just to make our life simpler. Unlink instance root. Now it's happy. Hit refresh. Maybe it's not happy. Come on. All the things are in here. Do you have any errors on the console? Clear console. Run simulation off. On. Not doing anything. Oh, we attached the script to the wrong thing. We attached the script to the group, not to the. Ay. Copy script. Remove script. Hopefully this copy script button works better now. Paste as new attached script. Please include values. Please include values. Please include values. Didn't work, did it? Paste as new attached script. Come on. Dang it. Super dumb. Okay, we're gonna have to do this again. Custom UI instructions. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now it's working. Fantastic. Okay, so right click. This needs to somehow, oopsie, Control Z, needs to somehow include the 2 script files, which we know should be at 0, 0. I don't see them at 0, 0. What the heck is going on? This has got to be those new, this has to be the new thing. The new thing. And I just don't know how it works. How do we include scripts inside of this? Because the scripts are no longer, the scripts are no longer stored on the server, but this has a dependency. Spawn new gizmo. I guess that's what we have to do. Okay, so we need the gizmo so that it can be included in the asset. So you get like CUI instruction styles. CUI instruction styles. CUI instructions entity. Spawn new gizmo. Spawn new gizmo. And then we need the position of this. So right click, copy position. There's no way to paste position on these. Are you serious? Oh yeah. Move them into here. That make the group super large. Of course it did. Of course it did. Select this. There's no way to move the frickin' position. Ay. This is something, if you are new to Horizon, you're going to start discovering there are a lot of times where this type of stuff happens. And you just get frustrated. There's nothing you can do about it because that's Horizon. Just lots of frustration from time to time. You know what I can do? I can do something completely different. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. We're going to do the inverse. Totally, let's do the inverse. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. We're going to move to the position. We know that the scripts are spawned in at 0, 0. So we're just going to move this to 0, 0. That just makes sense. Control A, 0. Oh my gosh, 0. There we go. 0. Sorry, that wasn't Horizon. That was me learning how to use a numlock. There we go. All right, so now that's it, 0, 0, 0. Let's get out of that. F focus. Sorry about the flicker there. Let's see if we can't scale these down. Scale. There we go. Move that inside the instruction board. Ta-da! All right, now right click, create asset, inside of my assets, instruction board. Instruction board, ooh, what did I click? With buttons. This is a CUI, custom UI instruction board with buttons. And create. Now I'm pretty sure this one will work. I feel so dumb. I feel so dumb all of a sudden. Okay, go to my assets, because I gotta go fix the 3 animated assets I've made. All right, we do need to move this up. So let's move this up to 2. Press F to focus, see if I can remember how to spin around something. Focus, reset world simulation, rotate in. That's pretty good. Thinking I want to move these scripts behind it so you can see it better. For the picture at least. Okay. Oh, and of course there's the all right, we're going to Control Z because that didn't work, and instead go into preview mode and take a picture from inside of. I forgot about that. One. Here we go. Oh yeah, and I can click E to. There we go. All right, screenshot time. New screenshot and select. Got it. All right. Close out of this. There's got to be a way to save this. Save as a JPEG. Perfect. Okay, figured out a better process. Save. Close. Okay. Turn off simulation. Get out of this. Save. Simulation off. All right. Clicking on my assets. Clicking on CUI instruction board. We're going to make asset public, add thumbnail, choose file, select latest image, press open, press import, description. All right, what we need to do is give this a good description, which is, oh, that's the wrong image. What the heck? Edit thumbnail image. I thought where did that JPEG go I just saved? Don't do list view, use medium icons. This one. Interesting. Oh, I guess they're not in order like I thought they were. Okay. Select category. Interactive. Additional category. Interfaces. Add an interactive custom UI to your world. Okay. Add tags, CUI, custom UI, video, buttons, images, instructions. Should be good enough. Save. All right, I'm pretty sure this one works, and the others may or may not be working. So what we're gonna do is go create a new world and test the other assets and see if they need to be fixed, which hopefully we can just hit update. I hope. New world. Starting to wonder if that button was going to work. All right, here we are. In public assets, we can see custom UI instructions. We're just going to pull it out. Assets include scripts. Please review the scripts to print on what changes to your world. Press OK. Nice. Run simulation on. Go to the other side. Ta-da! Nice. Looks good. That worked flawlessly. This one will not. Oh, wait, it did. Okay. Oh. Feeling a million times better? Yes, I am feeling a million times better. Oh my gosh. Thank goodness. Oh, I was so scared. I was so scared that these weren't going to work. Oh my goodness, that was terrifying. There we go. All right, all right, all right. One last one to make me feel better. Whew. Somebody tell me if these aren't working, okay? Like, please, maybe even just tell me if they are working. If you like go into Horizon and pull these out, let me know that they're working correctly. Because I'm just like, I'm not sure. Like, what if it's because I'm the creator of these scripts that the scripts get included when I bring out the asset? I'm very unsure, uncertain. So, would love some feedback here, guys, to rest my nerves a little bit. Okay, cool, 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 cool. Oh, so happy, so happy. Oh, like total terror right there. We'll go ahead and delete that world. It was just for that. All right, heading back into here, going back to here. We are done here. So the instruction board done. That was Alt-Shift-5. All right. Next up, 3D model image and a 3D model image cycler. These should be pretty easy. Back to Horizon. Oh, a little stretch for the back. Some simple scripts here. Let's get them done. Get her done, as they say. Let me think. Let me think. Where do I have something like this running? You know, now that I think about it, I don't think that one is custom UI. Yeah, okay. So we're going to leave this world so I can go grab the script from. We're going to go grab the script from Power Wash. Power Wash. Here we go. I didn't expect to get so many assets loaded in to this asset library so soon, but there was just like request after request coming in over the last couple days. of like things people wanted. And I was like, those are really easy things that we already have. And now that there's a public asset library, I can just share them. Like, let's do it. uh, Obviously, it took a little bit more work here than I was expecting, but totally worth it. So, very excited. This one right here is the one. And it's got this script attached called animated logo. So I want to search for animated logo. If I hit Control and click on this, there we go. Now remove the selection. I think I've got both selected. There's a lot of items in here. There we go. So yeah, they're both selected. Right click, create asset. Call this animated image. Save. Okay. Cannot create asset with non-file back scripts. You need to update your roles. Okay, well, in that case, what we're going to do is just make the script again in the other world. Unlit blend logo. I mean, that one does look the best. It's probably going to be the one we want to use. So we do want to create an asset out of this. We need to edit the script, which will open it up in a new tab. We're then just going to hit Control A. Yes, I trust the authors. It's me. It's me, guys. I trust me. Control C. We're going to go ahead and close this. We're then going to right click, create asset again. And then we're going to then type this as unlit blend logo. So it's very clear what it is. Press create. I don't think this will come with a script attached. Maybe that's what happened is we were in non-file backed script worlds. And so the script wasn't attached because of that. And so then I did it correctly here and it didn't work. It makes sense. Okay, so things are starting to make sense here. You got to use the latest and greatest, quote, unquote, greatest. I've heard a lot of bad things about fileback scripts, but so far I haven't experienced any of them. I'm still like obviously learning how they work, and it's terrifying me because I'm just like, I don't understand this. It's new and scary, but we're doing good. All right, so here we go. We're gonna pull out this unlit blend logo. Come on out. There we go. And then I need to go to scripts and create a new script, which is going to be called, this isn't a custom UI, this is just a image. We called this images looping before. Looping images would have been a better name, dude. Don't know what's wrong with me. Sometimes my naming is so bad. Looping images entity. There we go. Backspace, backspace, enter. All right, and then we can 3 dots. Open an external editor, where we'll then Control A, Control V. We'll review this script to see if there's anything weird in here. This was using the utility array function, which I do recommend, but I'm not, like, this isn't where I'm giving away those utilities. I mean, I wouldn't mind putting these utilities in there, but I think the right choice is to get rid of this dependency and to make this by hand, which is a super simple change. So right here, we're getting, ooh, this was for getting random item from array. Ooh, oh, we don't need to get random item from array. Silly me. This is from the old way. This needs to be, that's not the old way. This is just like how it works in that world. Dang it, that would actually be super cool. Like we could totally have a Boolean for that. So we'll just add a variable right here. Speed in minutes. We're going to change this to speed in milliseconds. And that's going to create some problems as well. We want to add a Boolean, which we're going to go Control C, Control V, which is going to be called is random. And then that will be a Boolean, which will default to false. But if you wanted to, you could implement the random. Now, does that mean we need the array utils? Yeah, let's get array utils. It's going to make our life so much easier. Okay, so we'll just have to include that in the thing because I'm pretty sure scripts that are not attached are not included in the asset. That's my guess, at least, on how it works. So let's get array utilities. We go to folder, go to right click, reveal in File Explorer, go to up, up, up. Is this the newest one? Maybe it's based on when I open it up. No, this does not have array utilities in it, does it? No. Up, up. Maybe this. Maybe it's when the world was made. Color data, weapon. Yeah, this has got to be murder manor. Okay, so it's based on when the world was made, probably, is what these numbers are, which means the one I was just in was a older world, not that old, but older. Animated logo, yeah, this is it. Okay, and there should be util array function. Control C, back, into the newest one, scripts. This is the one that we made. That was a temporary one. Got it. Okay, and so this is the one that we're actually in. This is the one. Got it. Okay, understood what's going on here. Starting to understand how that numbering system works, which is not terrible, but it would be nice if they appended the name of the world at the end. Okay, so now array utils does exist in here. There it is. So if I backspace the S, retype the S, there it is. And so then in the loop, we need to know if we're, sorry, I need to get my backup really just starting to kill me. This is a bad location to be working from. I really need a desk. But I can't just like record videos in a coffee shop. Can you imagine? Oh my gosh, that one guy in the corner was just recording YouTube videos for 3 hours. What is wrong with him? Okay. Oh man. So we've got add texture to array, which is down here. It's just pushing it into the array, so that's good. And then we've got the loop, and the loop needs to know the index. There's the index. And so this dot loop mesh entity, if mesh entity, this was to run it on world start. So we're going to delete this line of code because unless you want it to be random on world start, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Oh, see, because we were running it every 30 minutes. For most people, that doesn't matter. Let's go Control Z. We're going to add one additional if statement here because I want to make this as useful as possible. And so we'll say, start. We'll call this run on start. Run on start. Simple as that, right? Run on start. Set it to default false. Because for most people, they won't need that. But then you just write if, come on, backspace, props dot run on start, and then we run that. Simple as that. Curly brace. Adding additional features is not hard. Like building utilities is fun. Makes the script harder to read, but it's totally fine. Okay, so this runs on start. Then the interval is set up using the delay speed in milliseconds, which is no longer needed. So let's go ahead and take this and hit delete. And then we can change this to be this dot props. Oopsie, Control V. I'll just get the S. Props dot delay speed milliseconds. Okay. There we go. Which means we don't need to do this math formula over here. We can just delete that. Then the loop has the mesh entity here. So now what we want to say is if parentheses props dot is random, then we're going to do it this way because that's how to do it random. And then else, curly braces, we need to, okay, and this is going to be upset because new texture is embedded in here. So what we actually want to do is say alt arrow up, and then we're going to use that question mark that you saw us use earlier. I think it's called the ternary operator. I need to work on my naming of things and remember the name of things. But what we just do is we type props dot, oh yeah, what did I do? Control Z. Control Z, bring me back. Bring me back. Control Z, there we go. Shift Control Z, props dot is random, and then add that question mark, which then allows us to run multiple lines of code in here. Not really what I mean. What I mean is, if it's random, we're going to do this line here, and then we can do do a different line. And I think it's easier to read if I break this into multiple lines. We'll break that down here. I think I'm okay with that being on a separate line. I really don't know if the rest of the world is though, so take that for what it's worth. Okay, so then we have get random item from array. Otherwise, we need the new texture to be the one from the index. And so I'm going to do a line of code up here called index equals, this is what we did exactly earlier, +1, that in parentheses, I remember start writing those parentheses up front, and then modulus, then we need to know the textures dot length, so we say textures dot length, there we go. And now that we have the correct index, we can then just say textures item at index, and semicolon, control save. Okay, so there we go. We've got our new texture set up. Shift Alt F should make that pretty, perfect. And if new texture, then we can set texture to new textures. Easy enough, because it could be undefined, right? Yeah. Simple, simple, simple. I think that's it. And so this is set up for 15 or 16 rather. You can change this to be as many as you want by duplicating, just like we talked about earlier. I'm trying, my brain is honestly starting to fog up, so I'm having a hard time like really thinking deeply about this because my brain's kind of at its end now. But I know I did a decent enough job last time, so I'm sure this is okay. All right, so with this setup, we have our unlit blend logo. I'll press F to focus. We're on the wrong side of it, so we'll fly to the other side. I wish I could remember how to fly. There it is. We're then going to scale this down. So over here, we've got our scale. We'll just set that to 111. 1 tab, 1 tab. I wonder why that's not working. 1, 1, enter. Really curious why that's not working, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So here's this. We can see the script is not attached, so we're going to attach the looping images script. Now, interesting, it's got logo 1 and logo 2 looped in. The speed in milliseconds is set to 30. We'll set that to 1,000 for 1 second. Hit world simulation on, and every 1 second we should see that switch. There we go. And you'll notice it kind of glitched out at the beginning. That's because the image has to download from the internet. And so it takes a minute before it downloads and then updates. And then after that, they're both stored on the headset or whatever device you're on, and then it doesn't have to download, so it's just smooth. So anyway, cool. 2 logos, nice. I think for the sake of giving us some more, just throw in a 3rd logo, why not? There we go, that's fun. Do I have any more logos? Big wall logos. She's only got the 2 logos on there, interesting. I've got a 3rd right here. I wonder why she's removed some of the other logos. I don't know. That's okay. No big deal. We'll hit world simulation on, and we can see that this is not set to random, so it's just going to cycle through 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah, that's right. If we change it to is random, it should start rerunning the script, and now we should see them completely out of order. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. It has got a lot of. Let's hit restart. Let's double check. Oh, there's got a lot of. Is this still not random? No, that's definitely random. There's just so few, it's hard to tell. Yeah, we haven't seen got a lot of lava in a while. Nice. Okay, perfect. So yeah, the is random works. Running on start means you won't see this frame. So if we hit play, it'll start randomly. And then, yeah, perfect. So that's cool. that's very cool. And then what's really neat about this is I'm going to duplicate this before we make an asset out of it. Select, Control D, and then let's slide that over. And I've got a tutorial I did a while ago. Oh no, that's not it. I don't know how to find these. They're called neon frames. Should be in my archive somewhere. Neon frames, was that it? There they are, neon frames. So this is from the tutorial. I don't know if there's some rule on neon cat. Let's Google it. Is neon cat, what do they call open? Public domain. Not in the public domain. Neon cat is not in the public domain. It is eligible for copyright protection and the creator has not taken steps to prevent its use by others, but it still retains copyright. Additionally, all aspects of Neon cat are copyrighted, meaning you cannot use it freely without permission. There have been copyright claims related to Neon cat. Oh, interesting. Thus, while it may be used informally, it is not considered public domain. How interesting. That Neon cat looks way more detailed than the Neon cat that I know of. Okay, well, we're not going to use Neon cat in the public asset since it's very clearly, according to that, not allowed. But I will show you what you can do is you can make an animated GIF. And I do have a tutorial on how to do this and how to get the frames. But we're just going to swap these in. So there's 1. We do -1. So there's 4. There's 3. There's 2. 7. 6. Oh, there was a 0, 0. We'll get the 0, 0. Sorry, 0, 0. Didn't know you existed. There's 5. There's 9. There's 11. 10. 8. And because we have 0, 0 and it's a loop, we can put it at the very end. Very nice. All right, so now we'll go ahead and hit World Simulation on, and you can see with an animated GIF, like Neon Cat, it's running really slow at once per second. So let's change that to 10 times per second using 100 milliseconds. I like Neon Cat. Please don't copyright strike me. I'm not worried about it, but yeah, obviously this guy owns his thing, and it is very cool. So what we can also do is change this to like 50, so 20 times per second. Let's get that going. Neon Cat's flying. It doesn't look super clean for some reason. I'm not sure if my frames are solid. Maybe it's supposed to be at, let's try 150. Hit reset. Yeah, I think it's gotta be at a specific rate to look decent. I'm not sure. Might want to play with that. Could be a limit of horizon. I'm not entirely sure. So with that running smoothly, I did want to try it. Let's try it at 50 because I feel like 50 should have worked. Hit reset. So it doesn't look like you can do 20 FPS per second. It definitely causes some hiccups. We do 100. Was 100 good? Simulation on. 2, 3, 4, 6. It definitely felt smoothest at 150. I don't know what's up with that, but that's the smoothest one. Now, with that in mind, running on start is going to be cleaning up that logo you were seeing at the beginning. So if I hit start, and then is random is going to make this way more chaotic or special. Maybe there's something special about that. I don't know. But anyway, you get the idea. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, feel free to check out that tutorial to learn how to make frames out of a GIF and make your own animated things. And then with this one, we've got this. This is good. This one's ready. The only thing is we needed that one script utility array function, and there's that ability to spawn a new gizmo. So that's cool.
We did need to move this one out of 0, 0, 0. This one is currently at 0, 0, 0, so we need to move it. Then we can move this up. It's out of the photo. Then we can move this to 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 0. Yeah. And let's see what else. Let's scale this down. Scale tool, shrinky, shrinky. Okay, slide it back. And unlit blend logo, utility array function. We also have one other script, which we'll just spawn in for the sake of doing this, which is the custom UI. No, it's the looping images entity. 3 dots, spawn new gizmo. Shrink that one down as well. I don't know if you need to do this. I'm just doing it to be on the safe side because it's not hard to do. And once it's done, it's done. Okay. Go look at this. Slide this one up. Slide this one down. I don't know. I can't see it. When you're in VR, there's so much more you can see. But for here, it's just like, what am I doing? Let's right click, unlink instance. Oops. Right click, unlink instance root. To focus. I thought we were at 0, 0, 0. I guess I hadn't moved this to 0, 0, 0 yet. I moved the wrong thing to 0, 0, 0. Yeah. My silliness. My silliness has gotten the best of me. Throw that over here. Move this one to 0, 0, 0. Okay. Now we can select all of that. We'll slide this back so it's a little bit cleaner. Select all 3, slide it up. There we go. And right click, create asset, and then call this looping images. All right, create asset. There we go. All right. And we're going to take a picture of this, but I want the script name to be sticking out. So I'm going to just move that around a little bit for this picture. Pull this out just a hair. There we go. Excuse me. Scale that up a little bit. Excuse me. Okay. One more inch. Ooh, I don't know what's gotten into my nose, but it is not happy. Save it as a JPEG and save. There we go. All right. I will go to my assets, head to the top, find that new asset, looping images. We're then going to make asset public. We'll then put in parentheses custom model. We're going to add the thumbnail, which is this one. Cycle images quickly with this script. Recommend no more than 100, we'll say 10x per second. Cycle images quickly with this script. Recommend no more than 10 per second. Select category, interactive, select interfaces, add tags, Vidyuu, comma, cycle images, comma, images, comma, image. Really don't know what I'm doing. This is custom model. Looping images. There we go. Okay. Save that. Make public. That should do the trick. All right, looking at our to-do list, this is done. Control, or was it Alt-Shift-5? There it is. All right, so now we're just going to do the 3D model image. We're almost done. So that is going to be a modification of this exact script. So what we're going to do is slide this to the side. There, there. We're going to slide you over. In fact, I'm going to Control-D, duplicate you, and slide the original. I can't see the slide handle. There it is. It's tiny. I don't know why it turned to be so tiny. There we go. And with this one, we've got looping image. We're going to unlink instance root. We're going to rename this to display image. Display image, custom model. Display image on custom model, which is really more like set texture on custom model. Although that is now a feature actually. You no longer need the script for this. So we're going to keep this script because I think it's educational, like we're going to make it, but for reference, I'll show you. First of all, let's ungroup this selection. Oh, right, we're going to keep the group. I'm going to get rid of these two things. I don't know if that causes any issue. I don't think it does. Yeah, we can see the script is still attached. We're going to unattach the script though. So when you select a 3D model, there is now a feature where you can, and this has been here for a minute now, like a month, you can select texture and just swap the texture with whatever texture. Like if you just need it to be a singular thing, boom, done. Like, is that easy? And that restores the original texture. And so that's pretty cool. So yeah, we're gonna go to textures and find one that's not. Aw, I remember this one. This was from an older tutorial. Image not found. I loved that one. That one was so funny. Okay, we're gonna keep that one. And now that we got this set up, we want to create a script that displays this image. And so we go to scripts, go to looping images. Go and just duplicate this. We almost need none of the code. It's such a simple script. We should just write it from scratch, but got to rename it first. Edit, rename. Display image on custom model. There we go. Display image on custom model, which is slightly different than the CUI display image, but yeah, okay. Right click, open an external editor. Now the properties that we need for this is just a singular texture. So we're going to just start by deleting all of this. We don't need any of these properties. So we can delete that. We'll just call this texture. We can then delete all of this. There we go. And we can delete all of this. And we can grab this line of code, move that up to here, and then delete all of this. And that's more or less the entire script. We got one small change or two to make, which is to say this, 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 and then this should be props dot texture dot as parentheses texture asset. And then to fix this, we're going to put an if statement around it. We can backspace this and say if parentheses props dot texture. That's going to solve one of our bugs. And then the last one here is to say this dot entity dot as parentheses mesh entity. Now we're done. Ta-da! Control save. That's how simple it is. So this is what we had to do prior to. This is what we had to do prior to the introduction of that texture button. So yeah, I wrote this a long time ago. So now that we've done that, we're going to spawn that script in, display image on custom model. And I feel like it's just like making this is for people who don't know about that button or who want to learn how to do that via code. And that's nice. Spawn new gizmo, should put it right there. Nice. Grab that gizmo, move it up, put it in, scale it down. Okay. And try not to cover her face. Come on, I can't see the arrows. I do not know why these arrows have gotten so small all of a sudden. Okay, that should do the trick. And last but not least, we'll select this. We're going to attach that script, the display image on custom model script. We need to reference an image just to test it, and then hit play. Oops, sorry, I meant world simulation. Been getting better at world simulation, and that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Here we go, we got the image. We've referenced the image that we want. We've attached the display image on custom model. Hit play, reset. Because I referenced the wrong type of asset. I meant to reference the image, but instead reference the asset we had just made. Let's go to literally anything. Close out of archive, close out of power wash, go back into got a lot of lava since we've been using that a lot, go into instructions. This is what I was really hoping to display. Drag that over and placed, and simulation on. There we go, nice. And that's perfect. So what we're gonna do is take a screenshot of that, and then this will be the fallback for anybody using this. And they'll be like, is there an image? I don't see one. I'm so sorry, there is no image here. I find this just so funny. It just makes me laugh, so keeping it. All right, there we go. Snippet, new, snip, snip, and save as a JPEG, and save, close. All right, now we need to create an asset out of these. So I'm gonna move this into here. Inlet blend logo is the one running the script. This has got the group. We need to display image on custom model. See. Oh yeah, this is totally set up right. Okay, right click, create asset, Control V, backspace, display image on custom model. Template asset, yes. Description, we're gonna write that later. Create. There we go. Head to the top of my assets. Display image on custom model. Make asset public. Select category interactive. This is more of a tool, isn't it? This is more like environment. Environment? We were using structures last time. We'll use structures again. This is kind of like art. Abstract, ceiling, floor, fencing, building, stairs, windows. It's tough. Environment. Yard, abstract. Oh, this is difficult. All right, we'll just go to interactive since you have to interface with it to use it. Whatever. Apply a texture to a custom model. Custom model import. Note there is also a button to do this from the properties panel of mesh entities. Okay. Apply a texture to a custom model import. Note there is also a button to do this from the properties panel of mesh entities now. All right, add tags, Vidyuu, images, images, custom model. There we go. Save. Add thumbnail, choose file, open, import, and make public. There we go. Very good. So there are our public assets coming along nicely. So excited for you guys to get to try those out. There's one more I wanted to make. It's not that hard. I don't really know if I want to make it though, because my brain is kind of starting to falter. Let's just make it anyway. It won't take long. All right, so if you pull out a gizmo, like text gizmo, this gentleman or gentlewoman, I can't remember which, had asked if there was a way to change the text font. So font selector. All right, so here we got our font. I'll change the color to make it more visible. Go with a nice, so that's magenta. Sure, right magenta. That'll do. All right, yeah, it looks more like pink. Give me just a teensy bit more magenta. There we go. Makes nice. Okay, so we got the font selector. So typically to put a font on, not easy. You'd have to type it in manually. Let's go font. And it's even harder in VR. Font equals bangers SDF. There you go. So what we want to do is make it so that this is easier. And we're just going to create a script. Create a new script called font selector underscore entity. There we go. 3 dots, open an external editor. And then this script is going to be really straightforward. If you haven't written code, I might not even tell you. I might not even talk because my brain is really just fried. This is what I normally do when I'm creating a script. We need some booleans to determine which font they want to use. So we'd say bangers, and then colon, curly braces, type, colon, prop types, dot, boolean, comma, default, colon, false, and then comma, control C, control V. And there's a few different fonts. You've got Anton, you've got, might actually have to look these up. So if you go on to that same website we've been going to, the Learn website, and under community tutorials, I did a tutorial on text entry. And if we can find that text entry tutorial, there it is, text entry and formatting, you'll find a cheat sheet here with all of the text formatting options, and we'll have all the fonts here. So we've got Anton, Roboto, Oswald, Electronic Highway Sign, and Bangers. Bangers is the first example. Control C, and we're gonna manually type these. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we got Anton, Electronic Highway Sign, Bangers, Anton, Oswald. Did I forget one more? Oswald. And Roboto, bold. Oswald, bold. Oswald, bold. Interesting. I have to remember that. Roboto dash bold. I wonder if that'll cause any problems. Oswald, bold. Roboto dash. Oh yeah, no using dashes. Got it. Okay, there we go. So those booleans can be checked, and then theoretically what we want to do is say if parentheses props dot bangers and then we do curly braces, and then else if parentheses props dot Anton braces, and then just keep looping it. Control C, Control V, Control V, Control V. So we got bangers Anton, electronic highway sign, Oswald, and finally Roboto. So this will allow only one of these to be selected. We do need to know the text, and so we're going to say let's display me equal this dot c dot as parentheses text gizmo dot text dot get. So this gets the text value of the text gizmo. This has to be attached to text gizmo, otherwise this will not work. And then right here you say display me equals, and then you do the code font equals bangers SDF plus display me. And then once you have that set up, Control C, Control V, Alt arrow, backspace, Control C, Control V, backspace, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, and we just need to update the names of these. So we've got bangers, we've got Anton, and last we got electronic highway sign SDF, and we've got Oswald bold, and we'll remember that Roboto was Roboto dash bold, Roboto dash bold. All right, and then last but not least, we say this dot nc dot as parentheses text gizmo dot text dot set parentheses to display me. And this does only work on, when you start the world, but it works. So let's go back, and there are some other options. We're not going to implement a very complicated version of this. If somebody wants to remake this and implement all of these formatting options, please do. That'd be awesome. And then you can publish it as like improved or whatever. Let's head back in here, attach the script, font selector, there it is. And now theoretically, if we have world simulation on and we select Anton, hit refresh maybe. I'm not sure if it did anything. Stop. Let's turn off this font. This font might be overriding everything. Backspace. Okay. And now simulation on. Ta-da! We'll change it to electronic highway sign. Nice. Oswald. Nice. Roboto. Nice. Doesn't feel very different, Roboto. But anyway, there you go. That's the font selector. And so I think for this image, I want to try and combine. My feet are starting to kill me. I've been sitting on my feet on a hard surface. Crazy me. Crazy me. Yeah, this is sweet. So let's choose a really cool one like bangers. Let's click simulation on. Let's get the picture to include none of this. So we're just going to drop that down to the bottom. We're going to pull that out. We're going to move this down like that. It does need to be a square. I just realized it needs to be a square image. So let's go back down to right there. And then screenshot, select, screenshot, select new image from here all the way down to here. That should do the trick. Okay, it's almost a square. I think it's okay if it's not a square, but it like deforms it a little bit. All right, so now theoretically, we just need to select this, Control C, Control V, right click, create asset. And based on our previous test, we don't need to include the script because it's automatically included. So call it font selector, press create. Go to font selector in the asset library here, my assets, font selector, make asset public, add thumbnail, choose file, choose font selector image, open, import, and then we'll say attach this script to your text gizmos. Previously, we had said that if it was a gizmo name, we would capitalize it. So text gizmos. Attach the script to your text gizmos to add a property to select what font you would like to use. Attach the script to your text gizmo to add a property. Select what font you would like to use. Uses defaults, uses available fonts from, I wish I could remember the name of it, Text Mesh Pro. Text Mesh Pro. Okay. Attach the script to your text gizmo to add a property to select what font you would like to use. Uses available fonts from Text Mesh Pro. Select category interactive, select category interfaces. Let's see, what else can we say about this? They explained how it works. Oh, you just say only shows the correct font when the world is running. Yeah. All right, add text. All right, fonts, Vidyuu, or tags, Vidyuu, font, fonts, font selector, text mesh. Oh, there you go. That should do the trick. Save. And oh, I see it cropped it. That's fine. Make public. Sweet. All right. So assuming everything is functioning correctly, we've got quite a few in here. You can now search or filter. If you go to the public asset library, you can now filter by creator and select, come on, search for Vidyuu. And you'll see all the ones that we made so far, which there's quite a few now. It's kind of nice. Pretty cool. There's 8 of them. We'll keep adding to that, so keep checking back, every couple months or month. I don't know how often we're going to create these, but we'll make tutorials, I'm sure. All right, I hope this helps, and I will catch you later. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye!